Hey, what's up you guys? It's me, Lexi, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, I know. I am gonna do a video explaining where I've been, what happened, because life was lifing, unfortunately. But I am back, I'm blonde, I got a new car. Yeah, you guys definitely missed a chapter, I am so sorry. But I am about to go to the biggest record event here in Connecticut. It is in Plainville, Connecticut, and it is a sell and buy record event, so you can sell your old records, you can buy new records, and I am super excited for this because I don't see events like this happen too often in Connecticut, so I just knew I had to be there. So we are gonna head there now. The event started at 8:30 for people who bought tickets for early entry, and then 9:30 for the general public. It is now 9 o'clock, but I do have to make some stops first. I have to go to the bank, I have to get gas, I might also stop at Dunkin', I don't know yet. But before we go to this event, I do have a list of records that I am kind of looking for because I never go record shopping without having an idea of what I'm looking for. So I am gonna set my camera down really quick just so I can talk to you guys about some of the records I am looking for. Please ignore, you know, my dumbass high school tassel. We don't care about that, okay? So the first record I am looking for is a Lenny Kravitz record. I am okay with either Mama Said or Are You Gonna Go My Way. I love Lenny Kravitz, he is one of my favorite artists ever, but I don't have any of his records, so I definitely want to add one to my collection. Second record I'm looking for is Herb Alpert's Rise, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been listening to a lot of Herb Alpert. I love his little mix of like jazz and funk. I'm not really into jazz, but I do like jazz when it's mixed with something, so whether that be funk, whether that be, you know, electronic, kind of like Joe Jackson does. And I've just been listening to a lot of Herb Alpert recently. Like, I bless that man. The next records I'm looking for are Aliceinchains. I'd be cool with Facelift, Dirt, or the Dog album, which I know is really hard to find. Similar to Lenny Kravitz, I love Aliceinchains, but I don't have any of their records, so I kind of want to add one to my collection. Then we have Incubus. I love Incubus. I actually saw Incubus a year ago today, I think, or a year ago tomorrow, one of the two. But I love Incubus. I don't have any of their records, so I do want to add one to my collection. My first choice would be Morning View, but I'd also be okay with Light Grenades or A Crow Left of the Murder, or even Make Yourself. The next record I'm looking for is Street Songs by Rick James. I love Rick James. I feel like I keep saying I love everyone.
I love Lenny Kravitz. I love Aliceinchains. I love Incubus.
But like I do, like some of these people are some of my favorite artists ever. The bass lines on that album, incredible. Incredible. As a bass player, I appreciate the bass lines. The next one is Smashing Pumpkins, and I'd be okay with either Siamese Dream or Melancholy. I know both of those are very unlikely, but you know, we're just manifesting, okay? We're manifesting. And the last thing I'm looking for is anything related to Mike Patton. You guys know I love Mike Patton. Like, I am a Mike Patton apologist, so I'm talking anything having to do with Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, Dead Cross, Fantomas, you know, etc., etc. But anyways, I'm gonna go because I feel like I'm already gonna be late now, and I woke up at 6:30 just so I didn't oversleep for this. So yeah, I'm gonna go, and hopefully there's still good stuff there. Alright y'all, we just got here, Alright y'all, we just made it here, and I'm about to go inside. I don't think there's too many people here, but I could be wrong. So I am actually gonna switch over to my phone because I'm not gonna bring my camera in there, but yeah, we're about to go in. Here I am leaving. I would definitely say today was a successful shopping day. Hi guys, so I am actually back a week later wearing the same clothes for continuity. As soon as I got home, I felt really fucking sick, and I knew it was because I was wearing a hoodie and sweatpants in 90-degree weather in the dead of summer. And normally I can kind of get away with that because I always have the air conditioning blasting in my car, and I thought that the place that I was going to was going to be air conditioned, but It was not. It was honestly hot as balls in there, and I was only there for like an hour and a half. I probably would have stayed longer had it been a little bit cooler, but I'm still happy with what I got nonetheless, and it was a very positive experience overall. Everybody there was super nice, super welcoming, even the lady who was like right at the door, because from the moment you walk in, there's a lady sitting at the door with a cash register ready to like take your ticket or like have you buy a ticket, because obviously, you know, the event wasn't free. I had actually bought my ticket in advance on Eventbrite, so all she had to do was scan my ticket. But that lady was so sweet. Like, she was complimenting my hair color, and she was like, it looks so nice with your complexion. Everyone in there was super nice, from the sellers to the other people in there buying. Like, it wasn't uncommon for you to pick up an album and the person next to you go, hey, that's a great album. Like, I had that album back in 81 or 82 and now you guys are having a conversation. Like, everybody there was super friendly. It was definitely an older crowd, but like that's what I expected considering, you know, it's records. There was a little bit of controversy though at the beginning, because I didn't really understand how the process worked, because it was my first record exchange event. So basically everyone there is like individually selling their records, but I thought that because all of the records had price tags on them, that like you pay at the end with the lady who had the cash register. So I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna pick up a few records and like walk away. And it wasn't until I got to like the third seller that he was like, okay, how do you wanna pay? Do you wanna pay with cash or do you wanna pay with Venmo? And I was like, oh shit, like I have to go back really quick and like pay for these other records. And luckily the sellers were like super nice about it. They were like, yeah, no, we didn't think you were stealing. We just kind of wondered where you went. But like I said, they were really nice about it. One guy did kind of clown me though, because I said I was looking for Herb Alpert and he looked at me and he was like, Herb Alpert, like try Savers. But it was funny. It was all fun and games. So before I show you guys what I got at this record event, I'm going to be showing you guys two records that I got, one before the event and one after the event. I actually got the second record today. I just wanted to include them in this record haul because I did get them this summer as well. So the first record I'm going to be showing you guys is Arctic Monkeys' Favorite Worst Nightmare. I got this at Newberry Comics for $27. I got this record like a month ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely been in my Arctic Monkeys era since last December. So cute little story time, but back when I was in high school, I definitely had my Tumblr era, and Arctic Monkeys is one of the artists associated with the Tumblr era. I knew a few songs off of AM, so I knew like Arabella and like Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, and like obviously Do I Want to Know. But I didn't really listen to their music back then. I was more about The Neighborhood and like the 1975. So this past December, I actually took the time to like get into their discography. Like I'm talking Humbug, I'm talking The Car, I'm talking Favorite Worst Nightmare, I'm talking Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. And this is by far my favorite album of theirs. This album is like a toxic relationship or toxic situationship, like just in album form. Notable tracks on the album are Fluorescent Adolescent and 505. I think those are obviously, you know, the most popular songs, but my favorite song on the album is Do Me a Favor, because when Alex Turner said perhaps fuck off might be too kind, I felt that. Some people are just like fucking evil and like they deserve more than a fuck you know what I mean? The next album I actually got this album today, is First Impressions of Earth by The Strokes. Y'all know me, I love Julian Casablancas. We love him over here on this channel. I've actually seen Julian twice now, once with The Strokes and once with The Voids, which is his side project. I love this album. This is probably my second favorite Strokes album. After Is This It, which I also have on vinyl. Notable tracks on this album are You Only Live Once, Heart in a Cage, and Juice Box. I don't necessarily have a favorite song on this album. I'm not gonna lie, I do listen to You Only Live Once quite a bit, and I feel like that's only because I've only come around to it in recent years. I used to really hate You Only Live Once, and like whenever I was listening to The Strokes' Pandora station, like, you know, back in the day, like I would always skip it. I think maturing is realizing that You Only Live Once is actually a pretty good song. Also, I don't know if I said it already, but I got those two records from Newberry Comics. Now, on to the records that I got from the record event. I got some records in the field house of like what I was looking for, but others not so much, but I just thought they were interesting, so I grabbed them. So the first, The record slid out. So the first record I got from the record event is Combat Rock by The Clash. This is the album that got me into The Clash. I feel like with a lot of people who like The Clash, the album that got them into The Clash was either the self-titled album or London Calling, but for me it was definitely Combat Rock. There are so many bangers on this album. I mean, popular songs include Should I Stay or Should I Go, Rock the Casbah, which was like the first song I ever heard by The Clash. Also, Straight to Hell is on this album, and I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but Straight to Hell was actually sampled on MIA's Paper Planes. Like the beginning where it's like dun 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 dun. That's from Straight to Hell. You can thank Diplo for that sample. Oh shit, my camera's about to die, hold on. Hi guys, so I'm back. Apologies, you know, my camera is dookie and like it can only record up to 30 minutes of footage before being like low battery, low battery. So I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible, but I think where I left off, I was talking about Combat Rock by The Clash. Like I said, Straight to Hell was sampled by MIA and Paper Planes, so if the beat sounds familiar, that's why. The next album I got is Reckless by bryanadams. I've been really wanting to get more into bryanadams because, I mean, I know the popular songs on this album, so obviously like Heaven, Run to You, Summer of '69, but I really love the rock singers who can do like really soulful power ballads. So think like Steve Perry from Journey or like Michael Bolton. I love voices like those, and bryanadams has a similar sound, so I definitely do want to explore his discography more. I really love the song Heaven. I know that's like the breakout song from this album. Heaven is such a romantic song for no reason. I feel like it's such a cliche like wedding song, but like I definitely want it played at my wedding whenever the hell I get married. Yeah, I'm very excited to get more into bryanadams. The next record I got is Look Sharp by Joe Jackson. Not Michael Jackson's dad, but the British singer Joe Jackson. I'm not gonna lie, I was persuaded to buy this album by one of the people there because they also had Night and Day, which I talked about in my first record video, which I will link down below. But I was like, oh, I have that album, like I love that album. And one of the guys there was like, well, if you like that album, like you should listen to this album. So I haven't listened to it yet. I don't really have any expectations, but if it's anything like Night and Day, I know I'm gonna love it. The next album I got is Def Leppard's Pyromania. Let me tell y'all something. I love Def Leppard. I actually got into Def Leppard in like 2022 because I was working at a bowling alley and Photograph was on one of the playlists. And then eventually I found myself waiting for Photograph to come on and I'd be like, wait, where's Photograph? So then I started listening to Def Leppard, but obviously, you know, Photograph is on this album and I kind of got it for Photograph, but there's also some really good songs on this album. I mean, Rock of Ages is on this album. I think Foolin' is also on this album. Yeah, it's on this album. I also really like Joe Elliott as a vocalist because one thing I like about Joe Elliott is he'll do like the whole screaming and like singing thing at the same time, but like you can understand what he's saying. When someone like Steven Tyler does it, and first of all, no shade to Steven Tyler, I love Steven Tyler, but when Steven Tyler does like the singing and like screaming thing, it just comes across as like screeching and you don't know what he's saying. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit. I wish I could think of more things to say about this album, but it is like 3 in the morning, so I'm just trying to, you know, wrap it up. Okay, so the next album I have for you guys is Strange Language by deboraiyall. So I actually didn't say this in the first part of the video, but I also went in there looking for some romeovoid. For those of you guys who don't know, romeovoid is an 80s new wave band, or they were an 80s new wave band because they're not together anymore. But deboraiyall was the lead singer of this band and they didn't have the album I was looking for. So the guy was like, I mean, I don't have any romeovoid, but like I do have deboraiyall's solo album. So if you like romeovoid, you'll probably like her solo album. So I got it and I'm really excited to listen to it. The next album I got from that same seller was patbenatar's Live from Earth, and this was actually the first album I saw from that seller and knew that I was gonna buy. I fucking love patbenatar, okay? Excuse my French, but I fucking love patbenatar. Nobody has a voice like patbenatar's. Now you guys are free to correct me if I'm wrong, because one thing about me is like, you know, I can take criticism, I can take, you know, if I got something factually wrong, like someone calling me out. But I feel like in the 80s, there weren't too many solo female rock artists. Like there was Pat Benatar and there was Joan Jett, but like who else was there? who was like as mainstream as the two of them were. I say this all to say, I think Patbenatar definitely paved the way for a lot of female rock artists, and that's why I love and respect her so much. Once again, I could be super wrong, you know, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, but I really wanted to film this video. Anyways, back to this album. There are so many hits on this album, like Hit Me With Your Best Shot, no pun intended. Love Is a Battlefield is on this album, Heartbreaker's on this album. I don't think We Belong is on this album. No, it's not, but We Live for Love is on this album. Oh my god. Like I said, I saw it and I knew I had to get it, so I got it. The next album I have for you guys is The Waitresses. I Could Rule the World If I Could Only Get the Parts. So fun fact, I mentioned romeovoid earlier, and I actually got into romeovoid because they were a suggested artist on Spotify for The Waitresses. But I'm really into The Waitresses. I'm really into 80s new wave. I can't even lie, like what drew me into The Waitresses was their bass player, Tracy Wormworth, because not only are her bass lines sick, but like as another, you know, black female bass player, it was nice to see some representation because I feel like that's not something you see in the industry too often unless they're like session basis. But then also Christmas rapping got me into them because like I'm a basic bitch. But then I also got into them because Billy Thicka is the drummer in The Waitresses, and he is also the drummer in Television. So fun fact, because I told that to the guy who sold me this record and like he didn't even know. I'm a little bit disappointed that I Know What Boys Like is not on this record. But I mean, there's still some pretty cool songs on this record. Like I'm pretty sure Bread and Butter is on this record. The Smartest Person I Know is on this record. So, you know, still cool songs on it. The next record I got, I didn't want, but like the guy was trying to get rid of it because he was like, I have way too many copies of it and no one will fucking buy it. And that is Tommytutone 2 by Tommytutone. I actually made the unfortunate mistake of recognizing this album cover and then singing 8675309 Jenny. And the guy was like, oh my god, please take it. Please take it. I will throw it in for free. I do not want it. I have way too many copies of this and like no one wants to buy it. So he threw it in for free. Unfortunately, that's the only song I know on the album, but I will give this album like, you know, a listen. The next album I got is Destiny by the Jacksons. I kind of got this album for nostalgic purposes because my mom would play Blame It on the Boogie a lot growing up. So fun fact, my mom isn't from the US, but it was like her first taste of American music she got when she came over here. This was definitely an important album growing up in my household, and I just want to show you guys really quick like the inside because oh my god, like beautiful. Ooh. Beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Look at that. So I really got this album to share with my mom. And the last album I got, drum roll please. If I could get it out the bag, that would be great. It's Dirt by Aliceinchains. This is the one album that I went in there saying I was gonna get and actually got, because a lot of the other stuff that I was looking for, they either didn't have or like they had sold them like earlier on. But overall, I am very happy with this. I love Aliceinchains. I am a huge fan, specifically of Mike Starr, like of his bass playing, like RIP by the way. One thing about this album is that there are no skips, okay? I can actually listen to this album through because every song is a banger. You have Them Bones, you have Rooster, you have Down in a Hole, you have Angry Chair, you have Hate to Feel, you have Wood, you have Junkhead. Like there's so many good songs on this album. Like no song is bad. Literally, no song is bad. I'm not gonna lie, like when it comes to like the grunge, like core 4, so like, you know, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and Aliceinchains. Aliceinchains is slowly becoming my second favorite of the 4 because let's face it, like Nirvana is always gonna be #1 for me. Like Nirvana is my favorite band of all time, so like no one's gonna top them. But for the longest time, my ranking was Nirvana, Soundgarden, Aliceinchains, and then Pearl Jam because I do not like Pearl Jam. But I think now for me, it's Nirvana, Aliceinchains, and then Soundgarden's like right underneath Aliceinchains, and then Pearl Jam. But overall, it is just a fantastic album. Like I said before, it was the only album that I set out to get and actually got, so I'm very happy about that. And I cannot wait to listen to it. All right guys, so that is the end of the video. If you like this video, please let me know, comment down below. This is the last video I am filming at 23 years old. So the next time you guys see me, I will be 24, or I think this video is gonna go up on my birthday. I don't know, we'll see. My birthday is on the 26th, and for my birthday, I would like you to subscribe to my channel. How about that? This video may or may not be going up on my birthday. We will see. I have a lot on my plate right now. I have a lot going on. I have a few other videos that I just need to edit, but this video is definitely gonna go up before September. Now, I know you guys did not think I was gonna forget Song of the Week, even though I low-key did kind of forget Song of the Week. Anyways, Song of the Week this week is Bread and Butter by the Waitresses. I actually mentioned it earlier on in the video, but I will link it down below for anyone who is interested. But yeah, definitely go give it a listen. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at YurkYamit and on Twitter at loserlikelex. I have so many new videos in the months to come, but like I said, it's just a matter of editing and life has been super crazy. Life has been lifing, okay? Be kind to one another and I will see you guys next time. Bye.